Um, I will just start again because my microphone wasn't on and I want to make sure that I'm picked up. So this is the Appointments and Employment Committee on Tuesday, the 28th of June. My name is Councillor Jo Robertson. I'm in the chair because the chairman is unwell, and I send her my best wishes. Item 1, minutes of the last meeting. You have the minutes in front of you. Is everyone happy that they be accepted? Do I have a proposer? Councillor Ellis, and a seconder, Councillor Bacon. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest. Do we have any? No, I can see shakes of the head. Item 3, public question time. I don't have any questions in front of me. There's no one in the gallery. No questions. Item 4, urgent business. I haven't been made aware that there's any urgent business. No, thank you. Item 5, report of the monitoring officer. So again, this has been circulated with the papers, and the proposal is to set up a subcommittee of this committee. The options are at paragraph 14. Option 1 is to agree that. Option 2 is to not agree that. The details are in the paper. Are there any questions from the committee about this proposal? Councillor Brading.
Thank you, Chair. I struggle with the point of this, to be honest. There's a group of 6 of us. There's only 4 of us here this morning. So I don't really see the point of a subcommittee. There's only 4 of us anyway. So if it gets voted through, who decides what goes to committee and what goes to the 6 of us as opposed to the 3 of us? And who would decide the membership? It does mention in the paper about political proportionality. So therefore, if it's 3, I assume be 2 from the largest group and 1 from the other group. So I'd just like a clarification on those 2 points, please.
Councillor Bacon, you and I had an email exchange before this committee. I don't know whether you want to express a view.
I'm more than happy to. The way we've always done this, I say we've always done this since I've been involved as a councillor, is that when an issue arises, Democratic Services call on the available members, whoever that might be, to form a subcommittee to hear an issue. It's been happening for the last year without any query. And as I understand, it's merely a matter of who is available. These are quasi-judicial hearings, so there's no question of a political element or proportionality being appropriate. If we did not have a subcommittee, then it would be incumbent on Democratic Services to try and fix meetings when all members of the committee are available, which would be quite a burden, I suspect. I'm struggling to see why there is a query over something that's been happening since before any of us have been in this room, in this building, that is a part of the normal administration of any council to hear whatever issues are coming up, be it variation of a licence, application of a new licence. So I refer to those because this has just happened with licensing and the appeals committee as well. And it's just part of the day-to-day running of the council, where councillors are required to determine certain issues which they're given jurisdiction over.
Thank you, Councillor Bacon. Councillor Brading, did you want to?
Thank you for clarifying that. I get that. But the recommendation from the monitoring officer does say, and that it be politically proportionate as far as practical, with a quorum of 3 members. There's only 4 anyway this morning. So
I'm working on the understanding that the subcommittee, I mean, it says it in the papers, would be set up on an ad hoc basis, and that it would be for the committee itself to agree whether business went to a subcommittee or not. So by setting up the principle of a subcommittee today doesn't mean that any particular business has to go to that committee. It remains the decision of the committee itself. share some of your concerns, Councillor Brading, and that was my position when I first saw these papers, having spoken to others, including Councillor Bacon and including interim chief executive. For me, I'm satisfied that on balance, it's worth setting up this committee if it's been done before. It doesn't mean we have to use it. That's my particular view. Before we move to a vote, are there any other views or questions that anyone wants to raise? Ellis.
Thank you. I also shared concerns initially, but having spoken with other experienced members of the council and with the monitoring officer, I'm reasonably comfortable with this now. Thank you.
Joe, I think you make a very good point about when it's appropriate. Again, I think when we've needed a full appointments committee in the past, we've had one to particular appointments. And again, if I draw on an analogy with licensing, where the day-to-day business is dealt with by 3 members, I do recall we had a special meeting of licensing where all 12, as I think it was then, the membership were present when the review of the Isle of Wight licence, festival licence, came up in the end of 2012. So where there's appropriate issue, you get everyone in the room. But day to day, we really don't need to call on everyone for the more minor issues.
Fine. So unless there are any other hands, there is. Councillor Brading.
Thank you. I do understand. I think it's a poorly worded recommendation in that case. The recommendation was changed to encompass what Councillor Bacon has just said, i.e. that the items to be considered by the subgroup are decided by this group. That doesn't say that in the recommendation, then I'd be happy with that if just the recommendation wording was changed.
Councillor Brading, I'm prepared to put this to a vote and propose option 1 myself. Are you intending to make a proposal to amend the wording, or are you happy for us to go ahead and vote?
I'm happy to go with it, but I think what Councillor Bacon just said about the point is that anything that's discussed by the subgroup is decided by this group. That should be in Mr. Potter's recommendation.
I'm confident that constitutionally this committee has the power to decide whether something goes to the subgroup or not. So I'm going to therefore propose that we vote, and my proposal is that we vote for option 1, which is to agree the appointment of a subcommittee. All those in favour? Thank you. Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you. Item 6, members' question time. Are there any questions? Councillor Brading. In which case there are no questions, and that's the close of the meeting. Thank you very much.